Hey guys, welcome to Snake Nook. I'm Vanny, and with me I've got Torrent. He's my jungle carpet python. He's a sub-adult Morelius Belotochenii, and he's going to be my little co-host for this video. The topic for this video is we're going to cover 3 topics that are possibly up for debate when it comes to keeping snakes as pets. I'm going to try to keep it short and simple, guys, but it's going to be a good one. You're going to want to stay tuned. Well, let's go ahead and jump into those topics. The first topic that I want to discuss is enclosures. Enclosures will always be a topic of debate in snake keeping, particularly the size of enclosure that you keep your snake in. So what you want to focus on when you are providing an enclosure for your pet snake is how big is your snake going to be as an adult. So keep that in mind. Also, you have to be able to provide an adequate temperature gradient for your pet snake. So you want to be able to provide a cool end, a warm end, and then neutral temperature, obviously in the middle of the enclosure, so that your snake has an opportunity to either go to the cool end, go to the warm end, wherever that is, or if they're just wanting to chill somewhere in the middle, they can do that too. So if you're able to provide a temperature gradient for your snake, that is definitely something that you want to consider when you are looking for a good and appropriate enclosure size for your snake. They also should be able to move vertically, horizontally, of course. Your snakes are not just horizontal moving animals. They love to climb, so they need some sort of height wherever they live. In the enclosure that you choose to provide, guys, there needs to be height for your snake to move vertically as well. And then also with enclosure size, you also have to consider if your snake will have an enriched environment. Are you able to provide more than just the one hidey? Can you provide decor pieces that allow your snake to interact with, and also to use perhaps in aiding with shedding? Sometimes your snake will look for those rough surfaces in order to shed properly, and so you have to make sure that there's plenty of space for you to provide different types of decor with different types of surfaces. All of these things you must take into consideration when you are providing an appropriately sized enclosure for your pet snake. So that's always a debatable thing, is how big should that enclosure be? What should you be able to do for your snake? And I would say that as long as you are providing that temperature gradient, they've got that cool end, the warm end, there's a neutral area for your snake to go to. It's neither warm nor cold. There is opportunity for your snake to go vertically, for your snake to move horizontally and stretch out comfortably. And there are things within the enclosure that the snake has for enrichment, or just so that you can provide an enriched environment within the enclosure. Those are the things you have to consider, guys. Okay. And then another topic that I would like to bring up that can certainly be debatable is whether or not your pet snakes recognize you and can form a bond with you. So there will always be someone saying, nope, there's no way. Snakes only tolerate you. They don't form bonds with you. They don't know who you are. They know you're a human and you provide for them, but they can't tell you apart from other humans. And no, you cannot bond with them like you do, let's say like your dog. Well, that's whether or not you have a connection with your pet snakes is going to depend a lot on your interactions with them. You must interact with your pet snake. Like, your pet snake has to see you as more than that person that brings them food. If you spend time with them, if you take them out and handle them, your snake will begin to see you as enrichment. You will be enrichment for your snake because you get to take them out. They get to hang out with you. They get to stretch out. They get to go places, not just stay in their enclosure. So you're providing opportunities for them to explore the world. They will see you as, like you're that person that takes them to do things. And they will certainly have a connection with you. I do believe so. But again, that's why I say that is a debatable topic. Some people do not think that your snake can form, and I think bond is a difficult word to break down and use within the relationship that you have with your pet snake, because true, they are not mammals, they are not affectionate animals, they don't function like that. So if you're thinking of arguing and saying there's no bond between the pet owner and the snake, well, that's a tough one, guys. That's a tough one. Maybe bond is not the appropriate word, but can you form a connection with your pet snake? I would say yes. I think your pet snakes can definitely recognize you apart from other humans. I see it with my own snakes, guys. You just have to spend time with them. That is why this is debatable. The people that probably don't spend time with them will tell you that they get stressed out if you're interacting with them, if you're handling them. They should just stay in their enclosures. So they will have a completely different viewpoint. And then you'll have people like me that I handle all of my snakes. I work with all of my snakes. I take them out. I spend time with them. And so I think that they do recognize me. And I think that I do have a connection with all of my snakes. And I think that connection is very different from snake to snake. There are some snakes that it's just like, oh, that is my little buddy right there. I'm going to hang out with little Sunfire because he and I are like this. But then maybe Torrent, not so much. But I still think that I have a connection with him. I think that he and I, we're companions. I keep him company when I take him out. He keeps me company when I take him out. Yeah, he can explore the world through me. And then lastly, the last topic that I want to talk about is another point that is up for debate, and that is whether or not your pet snake is wild or domesticated. Can it be tamed? So the reason why I'm bringing this up, I've mentioned it in other videos, is because people, and this is why it's up for debate, people seem to think that because snakes have been bred for generations in captivity, that makes them tame. They are domestic now. Oh, we've been breeding them for a long time in captivity now, at least 50 years. But it's not that simple. An animal doesn't just simply go from being a wild animal to being a domestic animal, not even within the course of, say, several hundred years. Or it's not like that, guys. It doesn't function that way. Snakes are wild animals, and that is why I say that is a topic up for debate, because some people will tell you, well, but they have been domesticated now for such a long time, or whatever it is. But really and truly, guys, domestic animals do not have wild instincts in the same manner that wild animals do. They retain their wild instincts. They function like wild animals, but these animals are incredibly intelligent, that they are able to adapt to life with humans. And so giving people the illusion that they are domesticated. But you have to be careful with that. That is why this is up for debate. Some people will tell you that snakes, that they are somewhat domesticated now, that some of them are tame. You can tame them down. And snakes are. And what I think is really going on, guys, is that snakes adapt very well to life in captivity with their humans when their needs are all met. So when you have a snake that eats regularly, that gets handled regularly, that gets to explore and gets outings regularly, interacts with their human regularly, all of that, the snake adapts really well to life with the humans, and therefore giving the appearance of domestication. but these animals are still very much wild at heart. That is why you've got to get them out of food mode, or perhaps when they find themselves in a new environment, they get stressed out and they don't want to eat, or you've got to work with them sometimes to help them through certain issues, because they are going to function like wild animals. Can they adapt to life with humans? Well, yes, I'd say so, very much so. We see it happen all the time. Look at Torrent. When we first got him, he was a bitey little fellow. He was a bitey little fellow. But over time, he learned that he could trust us, his humans, and he has. Nothing bad happens to him when we take him out. He gets to explore. He gets to get some more exercise. He gets to get out of his enclosure for a while. So it's not all that bad. Look at him now. He's not biting me. I've been handling him through the entire video. He hasn't bitten me. He hasn't bitten me at all. And I'm not going to say that it's because he's tame. I'm going to say it's because he is very well adapted to life in captivity, and he is conditioned to handling. Well, guys, that'll do it for now. I hope that this has given you some food for thought. But yes, these were all topics, all three of them, topics that are always up for debate when you are keeping pet snakes. So enclosures, 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 and whether or not your pet snake is wild or is tame. And then also, can your pet snake form a bond with you? These are always, I think, topics that some people will say this way and other people will say this other way. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for staying with us throughout the duration of the video, making it to the end of the video. I certainly appreciate your time here at Snake Nook, and we hope to see you here again next time. Y'all have a good one. Bye.